live? We live? Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Hit it all. Comment, chat, subscribe, notification bell, delete, alt, control. Just hit every button. Just hit them all. Hit them all. Welcome to the Poor Man's Philly DeFranco show. As you can see, we broadcast live straight out the car as I'm in between things. But I always got to make time for you, YouTube. Shout out to the YouTube comments, really helping me to step my game up. Alright, we still here? Alright, we're going to talk about JellyRoll coming out in support of cannabis. Good, and more celebrities need to do this. Not just the Willie Johnsons or Johnny Wilsons. What's his name? Willie Nelsons. Not just the Chongs and Cheeches. But everybody needs to be coming out in support of cannabis, especially those sober people. My sober friends, a shout out. Holy shnikes, pulling up quick behind me. What's up? If you're just joining, hit the subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell. I go live every single weekday. The other shocking news article in Newsweek, by the way, I put all the articles down in the description so you can play along at home. And I highly suggest you go into the description and read these articles for yourself. Not right now, not while I'm on the live, but right after. As long as YouTube doesn't delete it. YouTube's been deleting all my descriptions. Anyways, for those just joining, welcome to the Poor Man's Philly DeFranco show. Bringing you the news, just talking a little bit slower. JM Studios, hey, what is up? Good to see you again. You got the notification, I'm hoping. And just like JM Studios, if you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, you'll get notified when I go live every weekday. Let's see if we're going to talk about child marriage first or JellyRoll. I think we'll talk about child marriage first. JellyRoll, and I want to get to, if you don't know, the government has a patent on cannabis over 20 years old. I don't know if people are aware of this. I try to put it everywhere, and I try to speak out about this a lot because it's federally illegal. Schedule 1 substance means it has no medicinal properties whatsoever. That's what a Schedule 1 means. It means it's the most addictive, no medicinal use, and the government has a patent on it from 1999. I put it on my website because this is bullshit that they're putting people in jail where it can charge them federally. So we'll talk about the government's patent on cannabis and JellyRoll speaking out in support of cannabis, saying that it helped him stay sober, which is the truth. As somebody who's in recovery, as somebody who has a lot of friends in recovery, I can attest to that. But first I want to talk about this Newsweek article involving child marriage. If you didn't see this Newsweek article, God bless you, because it's disturbing. And the headline caught me. The headline was something like, and again, I put all the links to these articles in the description so you can read it for yourself. But the headline was something like, child marriage is still legal in, most of the US. And I thought, no fucking way. Like, I thought to get married you had to be 18. Turns out I was wrong. And the funny thing is about the Bible Belt and those Southerners, and if you're from the South, God bless you. Maybe you're not like the politicians present it. I know for me, going to Virginia was a disturbing thing when I seen all these Confederate statues everywhere. I wanted to burn Richmond to the ground again, even if it didn't get burned the first time in the Civil War. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, how could anybody drive down this Memorial Drive with all these Confederate statues thinking like these are the traitors that tried to kill Americans. They seceded all for slavery and attacked America. Like, this is fucking nuts. Virginia, you got some issues. Take down all those statues. As somebody who's a descendant, my blood comes from John Brown, who helped kick off the Civil War. F you, and I'd like to steal the head off all those statues. I ain't gonna do it. Again, this is a comedy podcast, but I would like to take the head off. Remember that Simpsons episode with Jebediah Springfield? Bart took his head off. So the South, I figured maybe child marriage was legal there. I still really didn't believe that anyone under 18 could get married in the US. Like, I was like, maybe, like, the age of consent, I understand, varies from state to state. But really, can kids get married? I thought you had to be 18. No, an idea that there are only 12 states in the US. Only 12 states. 12. We got 48 more. No, 38 more plus what? 2 territories? Again, it's been a long time since I've been in geography class. Help me out in the comments. Ripped watermelon. My God, you YouTubers have the best handles ever. Ripped watermelon. What's up? Hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. I go live every weekday. Thank you for joining. And God bless that name. Ripped watermelon. I just imagine somebody carved a watermelon with a 6-pack of abs and then putting it out on the 4th of July table going, look at this watermelon we carved. And all the women are like, whoo, watermelon's making me sweat. Love the people who subscribe, who join the family here. And again, if you're just joining, I go live every weekday. This is like the poor man's Philly DeFranco. I do it from my car. Philly's got a nice air-conditioned studio. My phone shuts off because it overheats. So who knows when we'll be interrupted. But there's only 12 states. And I will name them for you. Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia. Good on you, Virginia. And Washington, though Virginia was more recently. A bill in Missouri was just shot down to make child marriage illegal. Of course, in Missouri it got shut down. Cousin fuckers. Sorry. Something in my throat. Cousin fuckers. And in New Hampshire, which I hate Governor Sununu, there's a bill on his desk to make child marriage illegal. If you don't know my beef with Sununu, I wrote an open letter to the state of New Hampshire, and Sununu, who him and his old white man, old white guy, rich white guys, are basically holding the state of New Hampshire hostage when it comes to cannabis legalization, because 73% of the state wants cannabis legalized. Their motto is live free or die. Every single border you can cross in New Hampshire, whether you go to Vermont, Massachusetts, Maine, or even Canada, it's cannabis is legalized for adults, not just medically, recreationally. But the live free or die state, you go to jail if I bring a couple pounds up there. And for all the people who, in my comments on my short, like, oh, boo-hoo, crying, I can't do my drugs. F you. Cannabis is not a drug. We'll get into that in a little bit. The government proves it. The government's patent proves it, not me. The government says so, for all you government bootlickers. Again, welcome to the Poor Man's Philly DeFranco Show. So, child marriage, this whole Newsweek article, which I put the description, the links in the description. Please read this article. It's disturbing. It details this one girl who's basically getting abused by her dad's friend, and because she ended up getting pregnant, the mother just figured the best thing to do here is to just marry him off. And this girl was like 16, the dude was 44. And this girl kind of documents her story, and it's very disturbing. And the statistics for this, but kids, remember these are kids, they're like 14, 16 years old. They're getting married, and they're more likely to stay in poverty, deal with domestic violence, and not graduate high school. Now, the fact that this was legal in America was so disturbing to me. I literally did not think that this was legal in any of the 50 states or territories, and it turns out only 12 of them had made child marriage illegal. And the irony is, like, all these Republican conservatives that want to make a Christian national state and have Christianity be, listen, I love Jesus. Jesus is my savior. But my God, I don't think he believed in child marriage, even though his mom was probably a child when she was married. But irregardless, it's just weird that all these like Southerners that are like, we need Jesus in our schools and in our political buildings. They're exactly like they fear the Taliban and the Sharia law and Al Qaeda, whatever. But all those countries are run by religion too, so they're exactly like those Middle Eastern countries. In fact, they aspire to be a state run by religion, which if you just look up most of the Middle East, any of those Muslim countries, they have Sharia law. They have religious courts. It's the same thing. They have child marriage. It's just befuddling that in America, this is what we have here. Is that not scary? Like, that's terrifying. I got daughters. I would never marry them off to some 44. Like, what pervert is getting married? Like, this should just be so highly illegal. I cannot believe it is. So I had to bring this to you. You have to be aware. I don't know what state you're in. If you can start a change.org, a petition or something. But this is disturbing that here in America, these 14, 15, 16-year-old can get married off to some 44-year-old dude. It just reminds me of a story of, like, you know, where the father marries off some woman and the husband's family gives him like as many goats as he can spare. Like, this is some backwards ass not even 1840s style way of living. You'd figure kids in America, we would want them to have the best education, to be the smartest, the brightest, the future. And no, here we are talking about how only 12 states in America have made child marriage illegal. Proud to say Massachusetts is number one. If you didn't hear your state listed off, then maybe write a politician. Because these politicians, like in New Hampshire, Governor Sununu, he's got a bill on his desk and he ain't doing nothing about it. So the article down below. YouTube also, I wanted to make mention, is got a war on ad blockers. I don't use ad blockers, but the funniest thing about this story, and I put it in the description, is that they said they're going to slow down, they're going to mess up the audio, or if you have an ad blocker on your YouTube browser. I don't use it, and I think it's funny because the ads, you can skip them. They've been forcing you to watch longer ads, which you can't skip, but I just know, you know, to me it's really not a big deal. But YouTube's saying they're going to skip the video if you have an ad blocker installed, which is the most hilarious thing, because what are you gonna, YouTube, what are you doing? You're skipping the video to the next one? Like, are you just constantly in a skip video? If they have an ad blocker on, it doesn't go away after one video. And they're saying, like, they're gonna make the video skip to the end. So what, they watch the next one, or are they just banned from all videos? Does every video just skip to the end? It just doesn't make sense, and YouTube just needs to get over it. They're billions of dollars, and they're crying about this. So I don't know if you're in the ad blocking community. I'm not. I know there are people who swear by it, who love it, who, you know, don't want to be bothered with 5 seconds of an ad and press skip. I don't care, but I just thought it was funny that YouTube's in this war and they're saying, we're going to make you skip the video. To what? The next one? And then can they just watch that? It's just a weird battle. All right, let's get to JellyRoll. If you didn't see, JellyRoll had announced that if it wasn't for cannabis, he probably would not have stayed sober. Very important, because whether or not you believe cannabis is a drug, well, it's not a drug. So if you believe that, then you've been tricked by the government's propaganda since the Nixon administration. Even the Nixon administration, I forget who came out, they were like, yeah, we knew it was a lie. We just criminalized. JM Studios, how old are you? How old do you think I am? Leave it at that. Once you answer, maybe I'll reply. But seriously, how old do you think I am? I'm old enough to have grown up in the 90s, so there's your hint. So anyways, this whole propaganda, it was just to criminalize basically black folks and the counterculture people, right? The hippies, the yippies, the anti-war protesters, that's all it was. So they can criminalize people. The way they know that is because in 1999, well, let me start by saying it's a Schedule I drug federally, which means they say it's no medical use, no medicinal properties, and it's the highest addictive, it's with heroin. So it's like, you can't get more addictive than this drug, which is all bullshit, okay? Years and years of DARE and bad PSA commercials like, this is your brain on drugs, trying to scare people away from it. 45, 57, I am 40 something. In my early 40s. Good guesses though. I should, you know, I'll just say 57 and I'll look good for 57. I usually like to do that when people ask me how old I am. I say like 54, and don't I look good? Don't just lie to them. Who cares? I always feel like I'm 23, unless I gotta get up off, you know, the ground. And then I'm like, my back, ow. So anyways, the government has perpetrated this lie against the public forever. JellyRoll comes out and he says he doesn't believe enough people speak out about this, but he says, you know, if it wasn't for cannabis, I probably wouldn't have stayed sober. And the government knows that cannabis is not only medicinal, but not addictive, because the patent, and if you want to look this up or write it down, I put the link to the Google patent page for the government's patent on cannabis in the description. It's patent number 630-507. And if you look that up, that is the government's patent on cannabis, saying that it has medicinal qualities, that it is an anti-inflammatory, and all these other, it lists all the medicinal properties it has. And that's from 1999, so this is not recent. So all this Joe Biden, you need to deschedule cannabis, and can you do it? It's just, it's a lie. This whole Schedule 1, that it's a dangerous drug, it's a lie. This is a weaponized political move. This is a tactic by politicians to keep us as criminals, especially people like JellyRoll. I've never understood how in one state, like in Massachusetts, you can be a legal adult, purchase something at a store, drive across the border to the live free or die state of New Hampshire, and all of a sudden I'm a criminal. Don't make any sense. Drive across an imaginary line where I see the sign that says live free or die, but if I have a plant in my pocket, I'm a criminal. Make it make sense, people. This is the land of the free, by the way. Everybody likes to say land of the free. And if you're going to say, oh, it's a drug, shut up. It's not. Patent number 6630507. It's it's healthier than ibuprofen. Okay? This is an anti-inflammatory without the poison that ibuprofen does to your liver. Do you believe in aliens? That's a good question, and we should have that on the live stream at some point, JM Studios, because I've had this debate with my kids. I've had to debate this with my kids. The oldest, I think she believes in some kind of other life form, and I'm just not sure. I loved Interstellar. Maybe there's like us in 4D that already figured out from the future how to support ourselves in space. But my other daughter said something brilliant. She said, why do all these billionaires want to go to Mars? She goes, isn't a day on Mars like 8 years? She said, and you can't do anything there. And I said, that's a great point. Look, what do you want to do in Mars? It's the shittiest planet. They have no waterfalls, no place to vacation. You probably got to live in a bubble. Like, why Mars? Horrible, horrible planet to pick. I think they just want to colonize it so they can make their own corporate industry up there and just ship workers off. If you ever seen, what's that Matt Damon movie? Elysium, where the poor people have to go work in space. Or no, the rich people live in space and the poor people work on the demented, destroyed Earth planet. So I don't know if I believe in aliens. Again, hit the subscribe, the like button, notification bell. I go live every weekday. I will get back to you on whether or not I believe in aliens. I'll tell you that movie from was it late 80s, early 90s, Fire in the Sky, about the dudes in Oregon, the loggers in Oregon that were taken and abducted. I seen that when I was a kid, and that made me firmly believe there were aliens. And then the more I heard from people that believed in aliens, the less I kind of believed. And then I tried to figure it out on my own. Anyways, we'll do a whole thing. Here in Brazil, there have been a lot of strange things happening in the newspaper. Ooh, please link an article in the description. I would love to talk about it. I love getting international news. I try to stay versatile in what I'm consuming when it comes to reading stuff. JM Studios, if you could please put some links in the comments. I'll read them. I will tackle that. I will talk about that. That is super fascinating to me. And that's the stuff that makes it kind of hard to deny. You know what I mean? And especially now that everybody's got a video camera, that's really what confirmed my belief in the afterlife, the paranormal, because some of these videos that are happening are hard to explain. I already knew this from a young age, but aliens, that's something that can totally sell me on it. Please, JM Studios, find links from the news in Brazil and link it in the comments, and we will talk about that on a live maybe this week. All right, I gotta go get a lotto ticket and then go continue on with my business. JM Studios, thank you so much for joining. Like, there was a newspaper, right, saying strange creature long crosses in the street in the forest. Damn, please, oh my God, I'll Google it, but if you have the links, please put it in the comments. I have to read about that, and I would love to tackle that stuff. Love to talk about that. That is super fascinating. So yeah, we will absolutely. And you know what? That story might change my mind depending on who's reporting it. If it's credible, if people have already tried to debunk it and they, couldn't logically figure it out. So that stuff is always fascinating to me. I would love to talk about it here on the Poor Man's Philly DeFranco Show. That's what I'm calling this. That's what I'm calling this until we build it up bigger and bigger. So look into that cannabis patent. remember that, you know, if cannabis is keeping people away from much harder drugs, then God bless it. I know it's doing it with some of my friends, and I totally support it. So as long as it doesn't, you know, make you wild out, then. And plus, I mean, you just look at all the Rick Simpson oil. Look that up in his story. He cured his own cancer with it. I mean, I think there are just so many more cures from cannabis that we haven't been able to explore. And if you know anything about how these colleges and these companies that want to look into the healing effects of cannabis and the strict laws because it's federally illegal, that they cannot pursue the right kind of they can't pursue any kind of research with cannabis because the federal government will crack down on them at any point. So it just sucks. And all for what? To just make us criminals. There's no point other than that. Look into the propaganda. Nixon started it. Nixon's administration, as of recently, said we knew it was a lie, that cannabis wasn't dangerous. We just needed to make it illegal so we could arrest black people and any kind of counterculture folks. All right, thanks for joining. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell because I go live every weekday. Hit the like button and leave it in the comments. James Studios, please leave those stories in the comments and we'll figure out if aliens are real and if they're coming to Brazil on maybe one of the next live streams this week. Thanks so much. Peace.